The secret to dominating local AI right now in 2026 absolutely isn't found inside some massive billion-dollar corporate server farm. Nope, it's actually humming quietly inside the surprisingly humble rigs of nearly 300,000 everyday developers.
So what exactly is powering this local AI revolution? Well, to figure that out, we're not going to look at glossy marketing brochures or, theoretical lab benchmarks. Instead, we're going straight to the source. We've got a massive voluntary data snapshot pulled directly from HuggingFace in April 2026. This is exactly where the open source community lives, and this data set, it gives us a surgical, real-world look at what people are literally running in their homes and offices to make AI happen. Okay, just take a look at this number right here. 297,135. That is the staggering number of users who voluntarily reported their hardware setups for this exact snapshot. That massive figure instantly validates our data pool. I mean, we're looking at a true, real-world cross-section of the AI community here. This isn't just some tiny isolated focus group. This is the reality of hardware adoption on the ground. When nearly 300,000 developers tell you what they're actually using to build the future, you absolutely have to listen. And that brings us to our first major shocker. Just look at this macro view of the top 100 hardware setups. Notice that giant gray bar dominating the middle? Yeah, that's Apple. Apple has captured a frankly incredible 34.2% of the top 100 share. And look up there at the top right, the M4 chip claims the absolute #1 overall spot. Crazy, right? But hey, do not count the green team out just yet. Take a peek at the Nvidia GeForce breakdown on the bottom right. What's absolutely fascinating here is that Nvidia's older RTX 30 series, that really tall green bar right in the middle, is still vastly outpacing their newer, much more expensive 40 and 50 series cards. It turns out, people are holding on to older hardware because, quite simply, it still does exactly what they need it to do.
Now, when we slice these numbers down by form factor, we're looking at absolute monopolies. On the far left, in the discrete GPU market, meaning, those big standalone graphics cards you physically plug into a motherboard, Nvidia basically owns an untouchable 97.3% of the space. It's practically a solid yellow circle. But shift your eyes over to the right, to the system on a chip, or SoC category. See that massive gray circle? That's Apple Silicon, holding a crushing 95.6% of the market. The hardware landscape for local AI has completely bifurcated. It's like two separate universes. If you're building a desktop rig with a plug-in card, you're buying Nvidia. If you're picking up an integrated machine or a laptop, you're buying Apple. There's literally almost zero middle ground here.
So what happens when we rank the top 10 setups overall? A seriously fascinating hierarchy emerges. Apple's M series completely dominates the top 3 spots, locking it down with the M4, M4 Pro, and M1 Pro. But look down at number 4. The real shocker here is the budget-friendly Nvidia RTX 3060. It's not just surviving, it's thriving right near the top of the pack. It's literally beating out the monstrous, incredibly expensive RTX 4090 and even the brand new RTX 5090. I mean, think about that. How exactly does a mid-tier card from a previous generation completely outcompete the latest and greatest flagship tech? Well, to answer that, we need to translate these raw numbers into core community insights. First up, this massive boom in self-hosted models, it's being heavily driven by a need for privacy and offline AI capabilities. People just want to control their own data, period. Second, Apple Silicon has completely dominated the local AI laptop space. Third, while Apple owns those laptops, Nvidia still reigns as the undisputed king of raw performance. Fourth, and this directly answers our 3060 question, 24 gigabytes of VRAM has officially become the enthusiast sweet spot. And finally, sadly for the red team, AMD GPUs are continuing to lag pretty significantly in the broader AI ecosystem. So the absolute crucial takeaway here is that the community is prioritizing memory capacity, privacy, and local inference way more than they are just chasing the absolute fastest raw compute speeds. To really get this, we have to fundamentally separate how we think about traditional gaming from how we think about AI. It's a completely different mindset. Think of your graphics card's VRAM, your video RAM as your physical disk space, and your processing speed as how fast your hands can move. You simply cannot work on a massive, complex AI model if it physically doesn't fit on your desk. It literally doesn't matter how fast your hands are if the paper keeps falling onto the floor, right? And this is exactly why a 12GB RTX 3060 remains such a budget survivor. It offers just enough desk space to load up moderately sized models, which makes VRAM capacity far more critical than those traditional gaming frame rate benchmarks we're all used to seeing.
So how do you actually use all this data? Let's simplify these dense market trends into some highly actionable steps for anyone wanting to jump in.
Step 1. Prioritize VRAM capacity above almost everything else, just to ensure you can actually fit those larger models into memory. Step 2. If you want portability or just a super clean setup, leverage Apple's unified memory. Their architecture is absolutely incredible for running AI on laptops. And step 3. If you need absolute peak raw power on a desktop, the current winning combo is an Nvidia GPU paired with an AMD Ryzen 9 CPU. Honestly, building this doesn't require a computer science degree anymore. If we pictured a user here, it'd just be a simple stick figure, because getting this up and running is wonderfully straightforward now.
In fact, to make it completely foolproof, here is your 3-tier 2026 hardware blueprint matrix, broken down by standard USD price points. If you're on a tight budget aiming for that entry-level tier, your hardware recommendation is the RTX 3060 or 4060. The key advantage? That 12GB VRAM sweet spot we just talked about. Now, for the mid-tier at a standard price point, you'll want a MacBook M series to tap into that incredible unified memory efficiency. And if you're playing in the high-end premium tier, you're looking at an RTX 4090 or 5090 desktop, or maybe a Mac Studio M4 Max for absolute raw performance and massive VRAM. This matrix is huge. It allows literally any tinkerer to confidently purchase hardware today based purely on empirical data, not guesswork. And that brings us to our final and honestly most powerful realization of this entire explainer. This isn't marketing. This isn't some arbitrary benchmark designed by a massive corporation just to sell you an upgrade you don't actually need. This is real data from the real AI community. It definitively proves that everyday users, people prioritizing efficiency and memory over sheer graphical muscle, are the ones truly defining the hardware future of self-hosted AI. So the question I'll leave you with is this: when you go to build your next workstation, are you going to buy into the corporate hype, or are you going to follow the reality of the community?
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell to the later update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end and see you in the next video.